Good afternoon. Today is March 18th. Welcome to the bill hearings of the Ways and Means Committee, our first hearings of the good senators. Senator Jackson, come on up. Welcome to Ways and Means.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Madam Chair.
Okay. We don't use the timer here on our senators as we try to be respectful, but however, I do reserve the option to turn it on for 2 minutes.
Copy that. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the Ways and Means Committee, and the excellent folks who serve us in the House, you know, the place where I was born. So glad to be here. I'm here on behalf of Senate Bill 30, property tax credit for disabled and fallen law enforcement officers and rescue workers. Madam Chair, members of the committee, when we passed this legislation, well, first let me give all deference to, this is a bill that I've decided or was asked to carry from Senator Klausmeyer, who's now serving as county executive. What we did was, when this piece of legislation was passed, what we did was we left out the most important partner of all, the spouse. So this tax credit that is given does not extend to the spouse current law, should the fallen law enforcement officer or rescue worker pass. So this bill rectifies that. With that, I'll take any questions you may have, and I'd ask for a favorable report.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you very much, Senator.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Have a great day. Thank you all.
That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 330. Senate Bill 344, Senator Brooks, one of my favorite people. Come on up.
Well, thank you, Chair Atterbury and Vice Chair Wilkins. Yeah, it's good to be back inside. You know, they say what most of us over there sort of cut our teeth right here in the House. Yeah. Well, thanks for the opportunity to testify before you on Senate Bill 344 as property tax credit for retail service stations conversion. The purpose of this bill is to allow counties and Baltimore City to grant property tax for property owners in converting that particular location to a convenience store for residential. And the amount of the credit would be 50% of the taxes that would have been collected on that. And of course, this bill is enabling. There is a may there, so the fiscal note is very, very favorable in the sense that the state can, I mean the counties can, they don't have to, but budgetarily, if they are available to extend the credit, then that's good. Yeah. So, but we hope you rule favorably on this bill, and that's the spiel on SB 344.
Okay.
Yes.
Any questions from the committee? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much,
Thank
Senator
you.
Brooks.
All righty.
That concludes the hearing on House Bill 344. Senator Quarterman, come on up. House Bill 502, another one of my favorite people. Welcome, welcome. My former judiciary mate.
There's a trend here of House members. I'm sure Doug Buckle can expand upon that later. Well, thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you. For the record, Senator Paul Quarterman, District 2, Washington, Frederick Counties. Members here today is Senate Bill 502, which expands the property tax credit for law enforcement officers, expands to judicial officers. You guys heard this bill, House Bill 1200. It passed this committee unanimously, also passed the House floor. We'd appreciate your support again and look for a favorable report.
Okay, any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you. That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill, I gotta get used to saying that now. Senate Bill 502. Senator Carrozza, Senate Bill 719. That's your favorite, yes, oh. Senator, let me tell you, no one fights harder for Ocean City over here than this gentleman right here.
Well, we're good partners.
Or orange crushes, right. Yes.
Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and members. For the record, Senator Mary Beth Carrozza, representing Maryland, Worcester, Wycomico, and Somerset counties. And I'm here today to present Senate Bill 719. And this is a local enabling legislation which would allow the Board of Commissioners for Somerset County to impose an annual property tax to pay for all or parts of the cost of emergency services in Somerset County, including fire rescue and emergency medical services. The annual fee would only be implemented following a public hearing with advance notice of the hearing. And as I think this committee knows, several counties in Maryland already have fund their emergency services this way, including Carroll, Cecil, Charles, Garrett, Howard, Kent, and Montgomery counties. This would simply help give Somerset County a tool to help ensure their long-term stable funding for a reliable fire EMS system. And this legislation is supported by the Somerset County Commissioners and the Somerset County Emergency Services. The cross-file, sponsored by Delegate Otto, passed the House, and I would ask for a favorable report on Senate Bill 719.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Good to see you. That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 719. Cara Contino, come on up for Senator Simonaire on Senate Bill 131. We'll start with that one.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Cara Contino for Senator Simonaire. He apologizes he's not here. He's actually in HGO right now. So Senate Bill 131 is a local Anne Arundel County bill that enables county property tax credits for construction of grocery stores in designated food desert areas. This is identical to House Bill 598, which you already passed out of the House, and I would request a favorable report.
Okay, any questions, committee? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 131. Senate Bill 178, Ms. Contino.
Thank you. Again, Cara Contino on behalf of Senator Simonaire presenting Senate Bill 178, which would revise our county's property tax credits associated with Habitat for Humanity. It is identical to House Bill 447, which you already passed out of this committee and the House, and I would request a favorable report.
Okay, seeing no questions, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 178. Senator Kagan, Senate Bill 2.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, colleagues. Cheryl Kagan, very proud to be the senator for Gaithersburg and Rockville. These three bills I probably don't need to spend much time on because you probably already know them, but this one is a constitutional amendment for anyone watching at home that would mean at the first part of a four-year term that there would be special elections held in conjunction with the presidential election cycle. After that, there would be the typical customary thing of going to the Democratic and Republican Central Committees for appointments that would then be approved by the governor for legislative vacancies only. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, any questions from the committee? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 2. Senator Kagan, Senate Bill 27.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Cheryl Kagan. This is a different bill than we brought last year. Once again, passed unanimously. Last year, the bill was, excuse me, for draft or exploratory campaign committees. We took out draft. That seemed a little confusing to some folks and is less of an issue, but Democrats and Republicans have, for candidates thinking about running for governor or other offices have had exploratory committees thinking about running and starting to raise money, starting to spend money. This sets up guardrails. There's currently no transparency at all, no disclosure. There are no campaign finance limits, so literally people could give millions of dollars. We would never know who gave it, and this also indicates what it could be spent on. It also sets rules for when you decide either to run or not run, how to dissolve the campaign committee. Happy to take any questions.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I didn't give a shout out to my own wonderful delegate, one of my wonderful delegates. Delegate Polakovich-Carr is my cross-file sponsor.
Okay, questions, Delegate Fair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for bringing the bill forward, Senator. And I noticed, because there was a cross-file on this bill, that we contemplated this bill actually passed out of the Senate slightly different. Can you explain how you all amended the bill and what the amendments specifically did to change it?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So as I said, we narrowed it this year and took out draft committees, because there is, draft Chris Fair for governor or something. So we took that out and just made it exploratory committees. I think Delegate Hornberger and I had a lengthy colloquy last year. So there, with feedback from Common Cause, League of Women Voters, and others, and our wonderful superintendent of the Board of Elections, we made clear what you could spend money on. So you can have polls, you can start to do mailers, you could do TV time, you could hire staff, buy computers, things that are directly associated with thinking about running for office. But you can't overspend, you can't take those millions of dollars and pay the campaign headquarters rent for a year, because that's not fair. That needs to be, so it's clearer as to what you can spend money on. And then also there are court cases as to freedom of speech, and that's why there are no limits on the amount of money that anyone can give. We just want more transparency, a little more sunshine.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 27. Senate Bill 88.
Senate Bill 88 is a quick one with my friend and colleague, our friend and colleague, Delegate Wims. You all passed this bill. They are in identical posture, and it just allows our state administrator of elections to be able to partner with our 157 cities and towns if they want. So whether that's borrowing equipment or using training materials, this is just going to make it easier to make sure that we run great local elections. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 88. Director Phillips, come on up. We will start with Senate Bill 183.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Daniel Phillips. I'm Director of the Department of Assessment and Taxation. I'm here in support of Senate Bill 183. The identical version of this bill was cross-filed as HB 133 and has been passed by the House. There was an amendment made to each bill, but they, at Delegate Hartman's request, and that has been passed as an identical measure in the Senate and in the House. We request a favorable report for this committee.
Okay, you cut your hair. Nice haircut.
I wasn't happy about it, man.
Looks good, fresh for the spring. Okay, any questions for Director Phillips? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 183. Director Phillips, Senate Bill 204.
For the record, my name is Dan Phillips, Director of the Department of Assessments and Taxation. Senate Bill 204 alters the deadline for local taxing authorities to set their property tax rates from July 1 to June 30th. The deadline for local governments to set and submit their property tax rates to the department is currently July 1 of each year, the same date by which most counties are required to issue tax bills. The department requires all the local property tax credits or tax rates to calculate the amount of any homeowner's tax credits that are required to be on the tax bills under a separate section of the tax property article. We've had requests from some of the counties that we get this information to them sooner, but we can't calculate the credits until we get the tax rates. I will tell you that most of the counties get the rates on time. This seems to be more an issue with needing the rates set earlier by some of our municipalities in the state so that we can get the files to the county government in a timely fashion. By altering the date, this would give the department's homeowners tax credits division time to properly calculate all the credits, have those credits applied on the tax bill so that when the homeowner gets the bill, it already has the credit applied and reducing their tax bill. In consultations with the counties, the bill originally was dated, asking for the date to be June 1. We have amended it to June 20th in consultation with county governments. I'm happy to answer any questions, but we request a favorable review, please.
Okay, any questions? Delegate Wells.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I was just looking at the letter from Baltimore City, and I think this came up, but I don't think during the House file, but I don't know if it was sorted out. They were asking for some flexibility because I think they typically don't have theirs ready until around June 20, or what does it say, June 30th? And so I was wondering if there's any flexibility that you could provide to locales or like the city of Baltimore?
I'm kind of surprised by that because we typically have had it from them by the early part of June.
I think their concern is that if there is an elongated budget process, it could be longer, that is what they've posed.
I mean, obviously, the date in the law is the date in the law. So, you know, if it's changed to the 20th, they would need to have it completed by the 20th.
Okay, so there's no amendment process or a waiver that could be provided to allow a
Not in the
jurisdiction?
current law. The current law states it has to be supplied by prior to July 1.
Okay, all right, I'll check back with them, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 204. Mr. Demarinis, Senate Bill 257.
Thank you. Jared Demarinis, State Administrator of Elections. We got the last 4 bills here, so we can bang them out so you guys can be done with it. So this one here is Senate Bill 257. This is a cross-file of House Bill 199, which passed out of the committee and out of the House. So we just look for another favorable ruling on that as well.
Okay, any questions? Okay, that concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 257. Senate Bill 259.
Jared Demarinis, State Administrator of Elections for the record. Senate Bill 259, as the House, you had heard this one, it was cross-filed with House Bill 274. It's our election plan bill, and it basically takes all 3 of the election plans and creates into one election-related plan for submission for the State Board to review. It changes deadlines to submit the polling place, early voting, and drop box plans up a month from 6 months to 7 months. That allows greater time for feedback and for stakeholders to understand what is going on and if there's any potential litigation without necessarily disrupting the processes. And it also clarifies the geographic distribution of early voting centers when a certain number of centers are reached, rather than just as a factor when you have 1 or 2. Hopefully the committee will now start working on the plan as well to move it out, and I'm looking forward to a favorable ruling on this one as well.
Okay, any questions? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 259. Senate Bill 262, Mr. Demarinis.
Senate Bill 262, Jared Demarinis, State Administrator of Elections. This one passed out of the committee and on the House as well. It's just with amendments, and it just changes the period for conducting a special election and allowing the state administrator to change and alter deadlines if a special election is needed, if the county code and the state code disagrees. Again, passed quite well, and we're looking for another favorable ruling.
Okay, any questions? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 262. Senate Bill 267.
Last one here was cross-filed with House Bill 41. It passed out unanimously out of the committee and on the floor. So again, just looking for a favorable ruling to move this along as well for our departmental.
Okay, any questions? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the hearing for Senate Bill 267, and that concludes our hearings for today, committee. Enjoy your day.
Thank you. Sure.